Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
And this is what happens when you watch DVD.
Welcome everyone to the Insert the Disc podcast, the only podcast where I talk about nothing but DVDs, and lots of them. My name is Liam Young. I am a filmmaker and actor who is obsessed with film and all that, and has a ton of films that I haven't seen yet, that I own. Because I blind buy things way too goddamn often. I need to go to rehab for things like that. So I'm making this podcast here to talk about movies in my collection. And joining me today for this certain film, he's a frequent collaborator that I have worked with in the past. He's also the best goddamn PI and Apple stand infiltrator in all of Bangor, Maine. Welcome, Tucker Whelan.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How are you doing today, my good friend?
I am doing great. I'm doing really good. I know we have talked about this before, but bringing me up as the private investigator, Bullet Finger, what an introduction.
Of course. I mean, it is the most significant role and the most important thing I think you've put out art-wise to this world.
This is very true.
I genuinely do not want to know where my life would be if it weren't for the Apple Man.
Bullet Finger.
So, for Bullet Finger.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a short film YouTube video-ish kind of thing that he was a part of a couple years ago. You guys should check it out. It's called The Apple Man.
Yeah, so my good friend Owen, he made this lovely, chaotic short film with an ensemble of crazy characters where I played a British private investigator who could shoot bullets out of my finger, hence the name Bullet Finger. So if you ever want to check that out, go to Sir Thankless on YouTube. Shameless plug.
Hey, you know what? No plug around here is shameless, especially when it's for something like that as well. If you want a good short film where a man who's obsessed with apples starts bawling with MF Doom playing in the background, please feel free to check it out. It's really good. And speaking of movies that you should check out today, the movie that we are going to be talking about, starting this podcast off with, we're starting off on a very high note. We are going to be talking about today the 1977, I want to say, classic hit film from Steven Spielberg, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now, I have never, before recording this, I had never seen this film. I don't know how I acquired it, but I have it. What is your history with this film, Tucker?
My history with this film is when I was little, I'm pretty sure my dad showed me the film, but like when you're younger and don't really remember like certain movies and certain things. But then for this podcast, I was like, yeah, I need to rewatch it. And when I did, I remembered certain story beats. So I had seen this before, but it was kind of a good refresher to watch this before the podcast.
Yeah. That's pretty sick. I love getting to experience the experience of like having seen a movie as a kid and like not really remembering a ton about it, but then coming back a couple years later and being like, "Oh, wait a minute, it's that thing."
Yeah, and especially the like adult jokes in kids movies. It's always fun like rewatching movies you watch as a kid. And then picking up on things you definitely didn't as a kid, but
absolutely
now you do.
That's kind of like what makes a good like family film in a way, because like there are tons of movies and animated movies made for children that just appeal to children and are just kind of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Slaughter the show, like children to keep them distracted. But the good movies that are considered kids movies are ones that like can hook in everyone. This is why like classic Pixar works as well as it does, because not only with like, let's use like a film like WALL-E for instance, not only is that a funny little film with a fun little robot that does funny little antics and goes to space and all the kids love that, but it's also a genuinely really good just like film
Emotional
about the
story.
dangers of neo-capitalism, and just also one of the most beautiful love stories ever put to film.
This is
So
cool.
I love that kind of like bar, like when you make a family movie and you're able to like get everyone age-wise interested. That's when you know you've made a great film.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And you could probably argue that for this film too, except it's definitely not a kids movie.
No, absolutely not. It's certainly it's one that you can watch as a child. But it's not. I don't know if a child is necessarily going to.
That's not the target audience there.
Yeah, they're not going to understand the like relationship drama in the middle where Roy's going literally insane trying to recreate this mountain that he found, tearing his family apart. They're just going to see that as, oh my god, he's doing a funny little thing with the mashed potatoes at the table.
I was so confused at first when he was doing that. That and the shaving cream, I was like, is he okay?
Oh, yeah.
And
No,
then of course, you later in the film, you're like, oh, he's not okay, but...
Yeah, no. You start seeing him throwing plants into the window of his house, and you're like, oh yeah, he's kind of losing it just a little bit, you know. He's starting to go off his rocker just a tad.
Well, if you encountered aliens, I think you have every right to go a little bit off your rocker.
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, if I saw one of those fucking things, I'd be like... And no one else, like, was telling me that, like, oh yeah, those things are real. I think I'd get a little bit screwed up in the head, too.
Oh, definitely.
It's like...
Absolutely.
That relatable feeling of finding an alien UFO and losing your mind.
And having it tear your life apart.
Oh, absolutely. I did that last Thursday, and you know what? It was great. Yeah, but it's interesting also, too, that we mentioned, like, the family film aspect when it comes to this film, because it's very interesting comparing Close Encounters to the other sci-fi Spielberg film that he directed, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which is fully a family film, and you can kind of...
absolutely.
You can see, like, in the technical and set design stuff, like, inklings of what he would do in E.T. Like, I can tell from, like, a lot of the props and a lot of the, like, UFO designs that, like, that reminded me a lot of what I saw in E.T., because I grew up watching that movie. And it was really interesting to see that kind of as, like, a precursor to what Spielberg would do next. Like, even some of the sets... Even, like, one of the sets, I think, it was the road. It was the, like, road that, like, Roy first discovers, like, the aliens on. I swear that set was used in a scene in E.T. I recognize that set like the back of my hand. I don't know why I know every aspect about E.T. like this. I don't even like that movie that much.
Really?
I'm a little biased because that movie genuinely terrified me as a kid.
Okay, that's understandable. That's like, very understandable.
Like, I felt like I was going insane as a kid talking about E.T. because, like, everyone else who watched the movie around my age would be like, oh, that's the cute little alien, and he's having a good time, you know, with this, connecting with this boy. And I'm like, this thing is scary! Like, that's a weird fucker.
Yeah.
This thing looks terrifying! Do you see the scene in the woods where he's, like, he makes a yelp? It's creepy. And then you see his corpse later.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part in here, too.
Yeah. Like,
but
that
I think a big aspect of why it's kind of creepy, I mean, as, like, a kid watching that, is the practical effects and that it's actually there on...
Oh, yeah.
Like, on the screen, it's not animation or it's not, like, CGI or digital.
Yeah.
Which, again, you gotta have to give props to Steven Spielberg or any creature film in, like, the 70s of just all the practical effects that they use.
Oh, 100%. Especially in Close Encounters, too. It's, like...
Definitely.
The design and just, like, the practicality of everything makes it feel more realistic, especially for its time, too. Like, the UFO, like, designs and, like, props genuinely, like, are really impressive for their time, and, like, would not feel the same if made today and made in, like, CGI and all that. Because, like, in a weird twist of fate, if you use... When you try to pursue realism by using all the most technically sound and proficient things, you make things look more artificial, whereas...
Literally the opposite of the goal.
Exactly. Whereas when you make it look... When you're doing it practically, which technically looks worse, it makes it feel more realistic, because it's there.
Absolutely.
It's right there in front of the actors.
I'm pretty sure that the miniature that they use for the mothership, it's in some kind of museum.
Likely.
I'm not sure where, and I probably need to get fact checked on that. But I'm pretty sure that because of the practical effects, like, that stuff is not only memorable, but, like, obviously it leaves an impression to the point that it's put in a museum.
Oh, I imagine so. Especially since, like, I know, like, film museums and all that stuff, like, eat that stuff up, especially for classic films like that. So it's absolutely, like, sit in a glass cabinet where it belongs, because, my god, that thing can't just go rot on a soundstage. That thing needs to be preserved.
It belongs in a museum.
Exactly. It's
Great
like,
Indiana
that shit's
Jones quote.
Gorgeous. It's like most of the I honestly noticed that too with a lot of Spielberg films. Not to go on another tangent about Spielberg films that aren't Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But
I know we're talking about everything around Close Encounters.
Exactly. But it, like, is good preface to getting into the actual film, because, like, I notice a lot. One of the biggest traits I've noticed about a lot of Steven Spielberg's earlier filmmaking, like, at least from, like, the 70s to the 90s, because, like, later on he started going more, like, serious drama-ish kind of direction. But something I've always noticed he tried to go for is a sense of, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a very interesting, like, film sense of just, like, the unknown, and just, like, opening audiences' eyes to things that they hadn't seen before in a very approachable and, like, almost whimsical way.
Definitely.
Like, again, I noticed that with, like, Close Encounters and, like, even stuff like Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it feels, like, very just, like, cinematic in a sense. Like, it feels very lifelike, very huge, very just, like, it's kind of like the antithesis of what cinema at its core feels like. Like, you get a scene, again, in Close Encounters with that, like, ending scene with the mothership, like, that's the kind of stuff you don't get too often in film, where it just felt like my eyes had been opened to, like, something extremely just, like, fascinating, but also kind of magical in a way. And that being these fun little alien guys who aren't trying to, you know, like, abduct and hurt people, but are actually, you know, like, trying to communicate. Yeah, they're just there, but they, like, communicate with the humans and all of that. And that's kind of what I like about Spielberg's direction around this time, is that he made a lot of stories like that. And I think it's really cool.
I think that, like, kind of piggybacking off what you were saying about, like, the seeing something extraordinary, that's a big theme for Close Encounters itself, of kind of like the seeing is believing, which tends to be a theme for most alien sci-fi films.
100%.
But kind of that bit of the exploration in the seeing and believing. Because, I mean, with Roy, he obviously starts out with these weird encounters, and then kind of grows his connection as, like, Chase to discover more about the aliens, especially with the whole visions of the mountain. Is it called, like, Devil's Tower, I think?
Yeah, I think it's called Devil's Tower.
If I'm correct.
I think you are.
But, like, the fact that he was, like, creating these visions with, like, the architecture of all the stuff from the yard, and then, what was her name? Oh, Jillian's character, like, she's doing all those drawings and stuff, and just kind of creating that belief rather than just flat out seeing and trying to have it be proof.
Yeah.
Because then it kind of pays off later when it's just like, oh, now you get to see the aliens and interact with them.
Yeah. It shows, like, the beauty in the discovery of finding these, like, insane, like, truths out, and finding out that, like, oh shit, aliens are real, and, like, they're actually really, like, cool and fun and really nice people. Or, well, they're not people, but you get what I mean.
Depends on what the alien is.
Exactly, but, like, the ones in Close Encounters, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Are. And I don't know, I haven't really seen a sci-fi movie that just kind of revels in the discovery of it all. It's, like, usually, like, they... In a lot of movies where you're dealing with an alien, they either usually go for more of a horror direction of, like, trying to survive it or trying to fear it. But this film... And again, I've never seen another film that does this, aside from, like, maybe E.T. as well, where it's just about, like, trying to uncover and understand these creatures foreign to us. And I find that a really interesting hook. Like, even though it does take a little bit of time to get to that in the film, like, I know I've mentioned this before in the past, but, like, I don't really care for the opening of it. Like, the pacing of, like, the first, like, 30 minutes or so.
It takes a little bit to get into the story.
Exactly.
Especially when it doesn't start with the protagonist. And of course, like, you gotta have a little bit of, like, exposition of what's going on and have a little bit of a hook. But with the dialogue being in French and Spanish, and me not being fluent in either of those languages.
Oh, hey, me
neither. Of course, it's easy to get a little bit confusing at the beginning.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's that, and just, like, I don't feel like it gives, like, enough of a good, like, foundation as to, like, what's going on initially, until you get to, like, meeting Roy and seeing his first close encounter, and then you're like, oh, okay. Like, I see what they're trying, what's going on here now. Like, that's, like, one of my only major problems with the film, is just, like, I wish it had a better hook at the beginning. Like, I wish, like, maybe what if, to hypotheticalize here, what if it, like, started off with that scene of, like, Roy driving down and having his first close encounter. Like, I feel like that'd be, like, a better, just, like, immediate hook to get people to understand, okay, this is what this film's about, this is the direction it's going in from what we know, and then just continue on from there.
Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, a good hook as well would be when Barry runs away and gets abducted by aliens, the little kid.
Oh my god,
the whole kitchen scene, he's, like, running through the field.
Wait, that would be much better, actually. Wait,
that also be a good introduction.
Yeah, no, that actually I think would be really cool. Because, again, I honestly do think the two Barry encounters, I genuinely think are, like, two of the best scenes in the whole film. Because, like, the first one's just extremely ominous and very just, like, what the hell is going on here? Why is this kid following a creature into the woods? Like, very just suspenseful and very tense. But then the second one is so, like, it levels the tense up to the max and gets really, really, like, really frightening.
You're talking about
for the characters.
Kitchen scene?
Yes.
The kitchen scene with...
Yeah,
with...
the one where the multicolored lights are all going in the house, and, like, Jillian's trying to protect Barry and all that. That's my favorite scene in the movie.
Going wild.
Yeah, it's just, like, the fact of, like, they're trying to hide from the aliens, and, like, all of the stuff in the house is, like, yeah, exactly. It feels extremely frightening and is really, really well, like, put together, especially with, like, all of the, like, household stuff, you know, like, falling apart and shaking around and all that.
The practicality of it is what's scary, because the familiarness of the house is just totally flipped on its head.
100%. And also,
with
like,
everything
just
going crazy.
And also, like, the lighting, too. Like, the extremely, like, bright, like, oranges and all that is extremely off-putting and, like, threw me in a very different direction than I thought it was going to be going in, because, like, that's not usually like the color you associate with like aliens or extraterrestrials and all that. And it's
danger,
very
yeah.
and it's very ominous and like a really good usage of just like color in this film, because like the color palette of it all is very like normal for the most part, but when it needs to up the color a little bit, it really does a great job at doing so and invoking the emotion that the scene wants to portray with just
you gotta love a good
color
palette.
Oh my god, yeah. That's like one of my most over-obsessed parts about film is the goddamn color palette and how that tells the story.
Love color grading.
You can tell because I'm obsessed with Wes Anderson.
Yup.
Yep.
And Asteroid City. One of my favorite films. Gotta love Jeff Goldblum in an alien costume.
Oh, of course. That's kind of the practicality angle we were talking about, though, as well, is that like stuff like that feels genuinely more like realistic. Even though that movie, it's very hamped up and played up. Because it's a show at the end of the day. It's a theatrical production. So
that's a whole episode in its own. Asteroid City.
Oh god, yeah. I need to buy a copy of that to talk about on the podcast, because my god, we could have an hour-long episode just trying to analyze that movie, because I love it, but it's a lot. It is very, very a lot.
And I think I mentioned to the CU, but I want to say it again on the podcast, that there's, in one scene of Asteroid City, they have that little like map to like of like beeps and blips to tell when like the next alien encounter is gonna go, and I think it's the same notes but in a different order as the music notes that they use to communicate with the aliens in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, that if that's intentional, that is a really smart like callback on Wes's part.
Absolutely.
Especially since I know he likes calling back to classic cinema and all that in a lot of his works. Like, I think that...
I mean, that happens with... There's so much of like callbacks and references in film and media. Especially like for like close...
Like in Monsters vs. Aliens, when they call back to Close Encounters with the goddamn synth.
Yes. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah,
but,
peak fiction.
Absolutely. My mind was absolutely blown when you told me that, because that didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah,
and now looking back, it's so apparent.
Having that revelation when watching the film was such a beautiful moment in my mind, because that felt like I came to the end of something in a way, because I had been trying
the code.
Exactly. I'd been trying to figure out like why they did that in Monsters vs. Aliens, and now here we are. Again, if you wanted to attract the aliens, all you had to do was feed them carrot puree. It would last for an entire lifetime.
Mm-hmm. But it's so funny how, for both of those movies, that's such an iconic scene of making communication through music.
Oh yeah. It's really something special, and I like that angle that the film goes in, where, like, again, the people are trying to, like, communicate with the aliens. In, like, a lot of film, the archetype is that, like, it's the big bad government trying to attack or capture these alien extraterrestrial creatures, but, like, this time...
Or the other way around, the aliens trying to do that.
Exactly, but this time there's a mutual, like, connection and a want to try and understand each other.
Yeah.
And I think the method of doing that through, like, the synth and through the music is not only a really good way of using film, music and sound in a film like this, but it's also really interesting, narratively speaking, to go for an angle like that, and I really enjoy that part of the film.
Because originally, like, with watching the film, I mean, because obviously you can expect that they're gonna make communication or contact by the end.
Of course.
But I was always wondering, like, how exactly they were going to do it. And it could be said that it feels a little bit anticlimactic, but at the same time, it's it's peaceful how
Yeah.
they do that interaction where it's like the people come off from the ship, but it's not like they're rushing out and trying to escape, or they're not getting like thrown out of the ship. It's just like a nice, gentle, like they're walking out and greeting everyone.
Yeah.
And
It's like
then,
these aliens didn't harm them, really. They just, like, they took them, but, like, there's a mutual, like, kind of understanding between each other.
absolutely. And then the same thing goes for like when the aliens actually walk onto Earth. It's not like a firing squad's meeting them.
Oh yeah,
You know?
everyone's just like stood still, and like the little aliens come out and like start like pestering but like hugging Roy and like the
Roy.
French scientists and all that. And it's
They
like,
kind of walk him to the ship like he's Christ.
yeah. But again, it's a really interesting tonal like dynamic to go for, and I like that a lot because not only does it like fit with the rest of the film, but it's something I haven't like really seen before done in another film since or before, and
Yeah.
I like that kind of subversion of expectations in a way when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also kind of going on to what you were saying about like how Spielberg likes to investigate the unknowns in his like directions of film. Because I mean, what would you do when you encounter an alien, or an alien wants you to come aboard its ship, where it's like, well, you don't really know what you do and don't know what would go from there. And I think it's done very tastefully of exploring that unknown without giving it a concrete answer.
Oh, absolutely. I like that kind of open-endedness with it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool. But honestly, again, even outside of the alien stuff, I think genuinely one of my favorite things about the film, and one of the most like well-executed parts, is the family drama with Roy and his family. Watching
Definitely.
him like have this encounter and start like slowly but surely like losing his mind, obsessing with trying to get to the bottom of like who these aliens are, what they're doing here, and everything around it. It's not only like really interesting to watch, but it's like kind of heartbreaking too. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. My laptop died. Rest in peace. It was really sad. I went to the funeral and it really, really hurt to see. But we're back. Last I remember, we were talking about the family drama of the film.
Yes.
And
Yes,
that
yes,
being like probably my most like engaged part of the film, because again, seeing this man like slowly but surely lose it while trying to keep on to his family, while simultaneously trying to figure out what the hell is going on with all this alien stuff, getting so delusional at a point to where he starts throwing plants and chicken wire into his house, which again was one of the most perfectly comedically timed moments in the whole film.
Yep.
Like, his wife is literally just talking and then a plant flies through the window. It's really funny.
And the fact that the kids join in too.
Yeah.
And the neighbor's just watching and accepting it.
Yeah.
And is like,
The neighbor is trying to get him out of, like, get him away from her with a goddamn blow dryer. That's Spielberg's got a little bit of a sense of comedy in him, even when he's trying to go for a different tone. It's really something special.
And I think that you gotta pay tribute to the performances in this film.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
especially, like, what you were saying with the family drama, one of the most, like, at least impactful scenes for me was when he's sitting in the shower, and then, like, the argument breaks out, and then his kids come in, they're screaming, too.
Oh, yeah.
And it feels very uncomfortable, because you feel like you're just witnessing a family fight.
Yeah.
But it feels uncomfortable, and it works just because of the performances.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like,
Like that
in
one
this film.
like that one shot of the child at the door, like, shedding tears, is one of, like, the most heartbreaking scenes I've seen in, like, a film recently. It's like, it's so hard to get child actors to be able to give, like, honest and raw performances like that.
Definitely.
So seeing like, a really amazing child actor do that is fucking incredible, dude. It was really,
Definitely.
like, heartbreaking.
And I know I've said this to you, but I'll say it again. There's one video of the kid actor from E.T. doing his audition, and he's in tears, just like selling the performance. And then right at the end, Spielberg's like, "Yeah, you got the part," like right there in the audition.
Hell yeah.
So like having those good performances is really what sells the story.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that it's definitely interesting in the dynamic of the family in this film, because at the beginning they kind of have that little like back and forth about seeing a movie and then playing golf.
Yeah.
It was
They just
Pinocchio,
wanted to play
Pinocchio.
goofy golf, guys.
But the thing is that the kids would rather do something considered a little bit more adult of playing golf than to go see a kids movie. Meanwhile, like with Roy throughout the film, with his like kind of deeper obsession with with discovering the aliens, I mean, yeah, he's kind of losing his mind, but it's almost childlike.
It is.
Where,
It's a childlike sense of, like, whimsy of trying
Yeah.
to, like, find these aliens out.
and I find it interesting in the family dynamic where there's the wife and then the kids, and they're almost seeming a little bit more adult and want to do more adultish things, while Roy is just kind of in that childhood exploration of trying to discover the aliens.
Yeah, it's I haven't really noticed that, like, dynamic until you mentioned it, but, like, that is genuinely really like fascinating too, like showcasing that juxtaposition of, like, an adult, like, wanting to, like, try and understand things like a child again, whereas the children are trying to, like, conform to more, like, adult sensibilities. And
Yeah.
I think it
And it just
really
adds a good character development.
Oh, absolutely. It's really, really, like, really well, like, implied, and really, like, it's really good. So, it's just really good, genuinely. This whole movie is just, like, really solid, like, science fiction and drama, and I really like what I've seen of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, in that case, I think we've kind of hit every base of the film
Yeah, I
that at
gotcha.
least I wanted to get to. Do you have any other things you want to mention about it?
Trying to think. I don't know. I really like kind of how it's a slow progression, but every story beat kind of just leads to a bigger picture and kind of putting the pieces together, which I just really like in film, where you kind of start out with these scattered pieces, and then by the end it all kind of clicks together, which I think is a great foundation in film. And I think that Spielberg not only just captures that in general, but it really kind of shows in this movie and kind of creates the stepping stones for his later projects, as you said previously.
Yeah.
So,
Nope.
what's not to
100
enjoy about that?
Yeah, 100% agreed. I do like films where they don't, like, they let you kind of figure things out as the film progresses, and just, like, lets you put the
Definitely.
pieces together as an audience member, trying to figure out these things with the characters along the way. And I feel like Spielberg does do that really well. Like, I noted that when I first saw Jaws too, that, like, he employed that kind of technique really well, but especially here, it's really something special. So, yeah, no, you're right on the money on that one.
All right,
Okay.
now I gotta ask, what would you rate it?
What would I
What would you
rate it?
it?
I would give this film a very solid 8 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed what I saw of this film. I think it is one of Spielberg's, like, best classics, and just a
Definitely.
really good, enjoyable, like, sci-fi film. I have my issues with it pacing-wise, Like, I think it could be, it could have a better hook at the beginning. It could be a little less long. Sorry for the noise in the background. Um,
Good.
um, but I genuinely do like really like this film. So yeah, very solid 8 out of 10. Tucker, what would you give
I
this
would
film for a
probably
rating?
all honestly, I'd probably give it an 8 or an 8.5 as well. Because again, there are some pacing things, and
Mm-hmm.
also with older-ish movies, every movie has a flaw in it, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can be a little bit apparent with practicality effects and stuff like that. But overall, it's got a great story to it, and there's just a lot of iconic, memorable moments. So yeah, I'd probably say
Yeah,
8 or 8.5.
absolutely agreed. I think I agree with you on every point there. So
Yeah,
yeah, thank you so much for coming on to this podcast to talk about this film.
absolutely.
I'm
Thank you
really
for
happy.
having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. And before we go off here, I do want to kind of give a little bit of a mantra about what this podcast is going to be about, since I feel like this is a good
Absolutely.
point where I can talk about this now to the audience as well as you, Tucker. Um, I own a ton of DVDs and Blu-rays. It's like my main financial passion I like spending on. Um, just because it's a fun little thing to collect, and I love like physical media. I love film, but there's a ton of things I haven't seen, and I feel like I have trouble trying to get myself to watch new movies that I haven't experienced before sometimes, unless I have like a goal of sorts. And that's kind of where I thought of this podcast, because I wanted to turn this kind of like clearing out my backlog into entertainment for everyone to enjoy. So that's kind of what I was figuring of doing. And also, I kind of wanted to add a little bit of a randomness to this so it can spice things up every episode. So for every episode, when I select a film, I put I use a random number generator. Thank you, AndrewHedges.com. God bless, God bless. Um, and generate a number correlating to a film that I own. I have a list of films correlated with numbers and all that. I am obsessed with random list making. I don't know why, but I've been keeping that for like a couple years now, so came in handy. And every episode, or at least for every episode, I will generate 2 films. And what I've been doing, at least in the first process of making this episode, is making a poll on my Instagram account, Citric Productions. Please go follow if you want to see more. And asking my followers on there what film they would like to see out of the 2 films I generated. And that's where what I'm about to talk about is going to come into play, because I'm going to announce what the next films for selection are for episode 2. So I'm doing 3 films instead of 2 films this time to add a bit more variety. And the ones that I generated, thankfully, were all new watches. So the films that are going to be in contention are M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, Spike Lee's Jungle Fever, and I don't know who directed it, but it's a Dallas Buyers Club starring Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
So feel free to vote at Citric Productions on Instagram when the poll comes out. I'll announce it. For what film you'd like to see on episode 2, because I'd love to keep making more episodes of this podcast, especially if people want to keep tuning in and listening, because I enjoy doing this a lot, genuinely.
yeah. And
So
motivates you to see films you haven't yet.
exactly, and it's a perfect jack of all trades in a way. So I like doing that. So please feel free to continue watching this if you enjoyed this first episode. Feel free to interact with the Citric Productions page if you'd like. And yeah, Tucker, before we go, do you have any thing you'd like to plug?
Uh, Honestly, I'm all set here.
All
Go
right,
follow Citrus Productions. There you go.
sweet.
Oh,
In that,
and oh, and real quick. Also,
uh
if you
huh.
want to see me as a British private investigator that can shoot bullets out of my finger, then look up Sir Thankless on YouTube.
Please do. It's amazing. It is incredible. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on for this episode of the podcast, then, Tucker.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And thank you so much to everybody tuning in for this. Hope to see you guys next time. And until the next episode, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.